Good morning, students. In the last session, we have discussed about how sexual maturation takes place in both boys and girls during teenage and what are various aspects of sexual maturation. And as the end point of that discussion, we have learnt one word, puberty. What is puberty? The period of adolescence during which the rate of general body growth begins to slow down and reproductive tissues begin to mature is called puberty. What is puberty? The period of adolescence during which, as the rate of general body growth begins to slow down, the reproductive tissues begin to mature. Why will it happen? Also we have discussed. That is, the sources of the body for the development cannot be utilized simultaneously with the same pace or rate, both for the general process of body growth and for the maturation of sexual aspects. If both have to go together in the same pace, the body sources may not be sufficient. Not only that, in order the sexual aspects have to get matured, initially the general body growth has to take place. Okay, so first the general process of body growth is going to occur for a particular time period, after which the general process of body growth begins to slow down and the reproductive tissues begin to mature. This particular phase occurs during adolescence. This period of adolescence during which the rate of general process of body growth begins to slow down and the reproductive tissues begin to mature is called puberty. Okay. In sexual reproduction, one particular thing is common among all the living organisms that participate in sexual reproduction. All living organisms do not participate in sexual reproduction, means do not reproduce by means of sexual reproduction. But those that carry out sexual reproduction, in those organisms, one particular thing is common. What is that common? The germ cells from two individuals have to join together. During sexual reproduction, the germ cells from two individuals have to join together. What are these two individuals are called? Male and female. So from male and female, the germ cells have to join together. This is the first thing that has to take place as a process of sexual reproduction. Germ cells are formed in male and female organisms, but they have to join together. Then only the primary event of the sexual reproduction is going to be completed. In flowering plants, this joining of germ cells together, it happens by the external release of germ cells from the bodies of the individual plants. So, we know that pollen grains are released from anthers and they just come and stick to the stigma, right? From there, from pollen grain, pollen germination takes place, through which the male gametes reach the ovary and finally to the ovule. This is how the external release of the pollen grains make the male germ cells to join with the female germ cells. It happens in the individual plants, right? If you take the animals, in many animals, the joining of these germ cells, it happens by two individuals bringing their bodies together for internal transfer of germ cells for fusion. Like in plants, the germ cells are not released out and through air or through insects or through water or some other means, the male germ cells cannot go and reach the female germ cells of the animal body. Instead, how does it occur? The bodies of the two individuals are joining together for internal transfer of germ cells, so that these germ cells will get fused with each other, right? Okay. The process of joining their bodies together for internal transfer of germ cells for fusion is known as sexual intercourse or coitus, or in simple terms, mating. The process of joining the bodies of animals together for internal transfer of germ cells in order for fusion to take place is known as mating. Okay, right? So what is mating? The process of joining the animal bodies together for internal transfer of germ cells for fusion is known as mating. Does mating occur in flowering plants? No. Okay. Like how pollination takes place, does transfer of male germ cells to female germ cells take place in animals? No. In flowering plants, the transfer of germ cells from male to female flowering plant parts takes place first by means of pollination, then pollen germination, finally fertilization takes place. Here in the case of animals, the transfer of the germ cells, that is male germ cells, near to female germ cells takes place so as to fusion to occur by means of mating. Okay. In order to participate in mating, their state of sexual maturity must be identifiable by the individuals of opposite gender. Okay. So, in order to participate in mating, the male animal must be able to identify the female animal as female, and the female animal must be able to identify the male animal as male. That means referring male or female animal, it can take place only after the identification of that animal by observing its state of sexual maturity. So, in order to participate in mating, their state of sexual maturity must be identifiable by the individuals of opposite gender. Right? The changes during puberty, that means during the time of puberty and adolescence, both. The changes that take place during the time of puberty and adolescence, okay, which we commonly refer as secondary sexual characteristics like new hair growth patterns. They are the signals of sexual maturation. What are the signals of sexual maturation? The changes that occur during puberty, which we generally refer as secondary sexual characteristics, like new hair growth patterns, are the signals of sexual maturation. The actual transfer of germ cells between two individuals of opposite gender needs special organs for the sexual act or mating. Like penis must be capable of becoming erect in order to ejaculate the sperm into the female reproductive tract. So, the transfer of germ cells between two individuals of opposite gender needs special organs during the sexual intercourse time or mating time. We discussed that first point is, in order the germ cells to fuse with each other, germ cells must be transferred from one to the other. That means male germ cells have to be transferred to the female germ cells. In plants, it occurs by the external release. In animals, it occurs by the mating process. But while mating is carried out, in order the transfer of germ cells between individuals to take place, special organs must be present in their developed state. Like the penis must be able to becoming erect. Okay, this process is completed. After the transfer of germ cells, the baby has to be carried in mother's body for a long period, which we call gestation period. What it is? Gestation period, for about 9 months in the case of human beings. And after the gestation period is over, childbirth takes place. Then after the delivery of the baby has to be nourished by the breastfeed. Okay, for all these needs, means for the development in mother's body, okay, and for the nourishment after the baby's delivery, the female reproductive organs and the breasts, that is mammary glands, must be in their developed state. Okay, so for all these needs, the female reproductive organs and the breasts must be in their developed or mature state. Okay, so this is how the initial processes are going to take place. We will discuss about the male and female reproductive systems in human body in our next class. Thank you.